Hey everyone, in this video I'm going to show you how to hike to Stonewall Peak, which is right behind me. You might be able to see some metal guardrails up there if you have the video pretty big on your screen. It's a really cool summit up there. You basically go on top of the exposed granite and there's metal guardrails. There's like a little observation area. Really, really fun. We're about an hour east of San Diego. The hike's not long, about 4 miles out and back. And there's a little bit of climbing, but there's a lot of switchbacks to make it easy, so it's not too tough, just a little tough and doable by most people. Now, if you want to come and do this hike, I have a full guide on Hiking Guy. Just Google Hiking Guy Stonewall Peak, and you will find it. Check that out. Make sure the park's open and all of that fun logistical stuff before you come. And if you're liking the video, if you find it helpful, useful, fun, whatever, if you could give me a thumbs up, it helps me out a ton as well. So thank you for that. And thank you for all your support, for all of you guys who support me. I really appreciate it. I could not do this without your help. So thank you. All right, let me show you what this hike is all about. And at the end of the video, I'll show you what the hike looks like on a 3D map so you can kind of get a lay of the land. All right, let's boogie. All right, so the hike starts right across the street from the campground where the parking is. You can't park on the street, unfortunately, here. But the trailhead is real easy to spot. This is the most popular hike here in the park. And there are also these posts with the signs on it. It's pretty well marked as you go up there. Pretty straightforward operation, not a lot of trickiness in terms of navigating this hike. Now, in a minute, you're going to come to this big junction. Off to the right, there's a small trail down to Cold Spring, I think it's called Cold Spring. And there's a trail off to the left. If you do the full loop, you'll come back on that trail to the left. So I have that information on the website, but there's a little disclaimer saying to watch out for nasties and bring water. But we're going to make the right and start heading up the hill here on this wider trail. Now, when you get to this junction, don't think the whole trail is closed. It's just going straight is closed. The trail is actually off to the right. And you can see there's some signage here to point you in the right way. Now, in the beginning, in addition to these interpretive displays, the peak is right in front of you, right up there, and you can kind of see the guardrails at the top as you go up. That's going to be our final destination, the top of that piece of granite there. Now, in a little bit, you're going to see the start of the fencing. The fencing generally follows the switchbacks up, and we're going to be doing, I think, around 20 switchbacks over the next maybe mile or so up towards the top. So it's not too tough. It's pretty reasonable. Here's a really cool stone bench, but you do get a lot of beginners, right? So there will be people who are suffering, but if you're normal, if you're used to hiking, it's not going to be too tough. And the views in these switchbacks are incredible. There's Lake Cuyamaca down there. It's actually a reservoir. You can go and boat on there, and they stock it with trout and everything. And the switchbacks are pretty easy to spot. You can see there's all of these stones over here. Beautiful views as we do each switchback going up. But just be conscious and know that there are a bunch of switchbacks. It's easy to kind of wander off the trail if you're not paying attention. We're going to keep heading up the switchbacks. And here you can see there's one that's blocked off. A bunch of people have gone straight at some point, so they've blocked that off. So just be conscious when you're making the turns as you go up here. You can also see it's a little bit rocky. Not too bad, but a little rocky. There's a Cuyamaca Peak over there. That's the second highest point in San Diego County. And it's also a nice hike if you want to do that as well. I have a guide for that on the website. You can check it out. And it's a good way to do a day trip. If you want to come here, you could do Cuyamaca Peak and Stonewall Peak in the same day. You can see the views are opening up. You can see up to San Jacinto on a clear day. Really spectacular views as we wind our way up these switchbacks towards the summit of Stonewall Peak. And you can see there are some shaded spots. In general, it's pretty exposed. And in the summer, it can get pretty hot here. So make sure you have enough water. Now, the first real intersection of note that's important as we go up past the switchbacks is this one. If you take the loop, we're going to come back down on the left. But to get up to the peak, we're going to make the right and follow the fence. And again, it's well marked, all pretty easy to follow and wrap your head around. But we're going to keep going straight here. And eventually you're going to come to a big pile of boulders, which you see here. This part can be a little bit tricky, but really we're going to climb up the middle of the boulders, and it's not any kind of a dangerous scramble or anything. You're basically just walking up the middle of the granite rocks, all pretty straightforward. And eventually you'll get to the staircase here, which is my favorite part of the hike, with the metal rail that they've put into the granite. And we're just going to go straight up here. Now, in this picture, it looks like it might be a little scary. It's not really scary. It's all pretty tame. And eventually you're going to get up to this little crow's nest area, which is the summit. And this is a neat summit. I'm here. There's no one else here right now because I came at sunrise. But if you come here later, this can be really full of people and not so much fun. But there are these really neat interpretive displays that tell you what you're looking at. There's Cuyamaca over there. And up to the north, you can see the lake again, San Jacinto, Saddleback. You can see all kinds of peaks from here. It's a really, really cool summit, and highly recommend doing this hike. Now, to go back, I have an optional loop, or you can just go back the way you came. I'll show you both of those routes on the map right now. All right, so here's the hike. This is the peak right there. This is where the parking is over on this side in the campgrounds. And here in dark blue is the optional loop back. It looks much longer, but it only adds about a mile onto the total hike. I'll show you that in a second. But to start, we're just going to go down. We're going to cross the road from the parking area. This was the trailhead right here. This was that big intersection where there was a small trail going down there and that sign. We're going to go up the dirt road. This is where that closed sign was. We're going to make the hard right there. I think this is a little maintenance facility. We're going to come around. Over here is where we looked up at the peak. Right there, we can see the summit. And then from here, we're just going to follow this up. This is where the fence starts, and we're going to take these 20 or so switchbacks up to the top over here until we get to this point where we had the junction. We're going to make that hard right, head up along the side. Here we're climbing the boulders, and then we come out onto the summit over here. Now, if you want to go back, you basically can either just go back down on the purple line, or at that last junction, go straight. We're going to follow it down these little switchbacks. Here's little steep switchbacks. I believe this is called Little Stonewall Peak. We're going to go all the way down and then essentially just follow it in a nice big loop. We're going to loop around. On the way down, you're going to get great views down to the lake and the other peaks, but we're going to basically just loop all the way around until we get back to the road, follow it all the way back, and it will spit us out back at that junction with that big white sign. And that's the hike, guys. Hope you enjoyed it, and hope you get a chance to experience this one.